So thank you for coming tonight. I'm Dr. Serge. So we're going to be talking about sugar, diabetes. Okay, as you said earlier, it's a big problem in this country. So I'm a nutritionist. My passion is to help people to get better natural. So I don't believe in surgeries, I don't believe in medications. I believe that if you provide the body with the right nutrition, the body will heal itself. Okay? My journey started a long time ago. I was about 10, 11 years old. I started to have chronic pain. So that was the main symptom that I had back then. I was raised in a farm in a small town in Quebec City, about 2,000 people. I had an accident in the farm. One of those hay bales stack fell on my head from the bone, about 60, 70 feet high. So as you said, it's high and it hurt. So I started to have, it hit my head, my shoulder, my back. So I started to have chronic pain in my shoulders, and then that pain started to spread to my joints, my whole body. I said, why was it painful? And back then, I had one option, is to go see my medical doctor. There was one medical doctor in the small town. So everybody would go see him when you have a problem, right? So my parents brought me there. So he said, oh, most likely you have fibromyalgia. Okay, at some point, that's what he diagnosed me with. So he didn't know exactly why I had pain. So as you know, when you have fibromyalgia or pain, you start taking painkillers. That really started my journey of taking more and more medications, because when you take painkillers, you become addicted to them, right? You need stronger, you need to take them. If you don't take them, you start having withdrawal symptoms. I started to have side effects of the painkillers as well. So I started to have all kinds of problems with my gut. My liver was a mess because of all the medication I was taking. I had kidney problems, I had thyroid problems. So, of course, I would go see my doctor and then, listen, I have this problem, so what do? Try this pill. So he gave me more and more pills. So all that time I started to take medication, lots. I was like, what's going on? I need to do something about my problems. So when I moved to Boston years ago, I met the chiropractor. And I have seen chiropractors since I had issues, about 20, 25 years. So I would see the chiropractor every 2 days, every 3 days, 2 or 3 times a week, because I was in pain. So she will adjust me. I don't know if you guys been to a chiropractor. So when you get a good adjustment, when your body is good, that adjustment holds and you feel good. So for me back then, I would have an adjustment, and a few hours later, I was back to having pain. So my adjustment wouldn't hold. So that chiropractor was a functional medicine as well. She was doing nutrition. She was doing nutrition response testing. So at some point, she got frustrated with my issue. She said, listen, I adjust you 2 or 3 times a week. You don't seem to get better. You don't hold. Your hips are out, your back's out, your neck. So let's do some nutrition. So I was at the last hole. I was like, I don't know if you can help me. You know what I mean? So because I've tried everything in the past. I tried acupuncture. I don't know how many chiropractors. Nobody could really help me. So when she did the testing, she was the first doctor that I met that gave me answers. Because I would go see doctors, and I saw doctors in Quebec, in Montreal, in Boston. I tried to find answers, and nobody gave me why I had problems. So she told me why. So I was like, wow, I was impressed by that. So she did the nutrition, and she said I had food problems, so she gave me a diet. So my diet for 2+ years was meat and vegetables. It was really limited, and yes, I did crave a lot of sugar. My diet before that was sugar. I mean, I would eat a brownie in the morning, I would eat a cake, I would eat donut, and then I would have pasta, I would have pizza, I would have burgers, I would have fries. So that was my diet back then. I was in school, I was in college. I didn't know any better. I think that's partly why my body was so sick. And then I was really impressed by what she said after that. She said, you had a chlorine poison. It's like, that's chlorine.
Chlorine?
Okay. So I didn't say anything about my background, but I was a swimmer. I used to swim. And as you know, there's chlorine in pools. Okay? So I did lots of them. Exactly. I didn't make the connection. I didn't know about that. So as I was swimming and spending hours and hours in that water, the chlorine got into my body through the skin. I didn't know that, but now I know better. So the chlorine started to shut down my immune system, my adrenals, my kidneys, my thyroid. And that's why I was taking all those medications to try to maintain my body. So she gave me a supplement to take to detox the chlorine out. So I said, like I said, I was a bit skeptical at first because I didn't know much about functional medicine. I was going back then to medical school, so I wanted to go that way. But she gave me answers of why I had problems. She was the first doctor, so I started to trust her. And she helped me to get rid of my Lyme disease, my chronic fatigue, insomnia, I had constipations. I had all kind of problems that over time went away. So she helped me to stop taking medications. So today I don't take anything. Take some vitamins, I eat well, and my body is well. Okay. Now I'm really excited to do it because it cured me. And I went. I learned the testing. I learned how to do that. And now I do that for a living. So we help people to get better naturally.
Did you lose a lot of weight through this process?
I did. Even though I shouldn't have, I lost 10, 15 pounds. I looked sick when I started detoxing and stopped the sugar. Because when you stop sugar, you lose weight automatically. Not automatically, but typically you lose weight. Yeah. Sometimes you don't, there's other concern with that. But I lost weight and I looked sick. Some people were concerned with that because I ate veggies and meat. But
as you eat fruit occasionally too? Or?
No, I couldn't have fruits back then.
Oh,
because the fructose was too much for my liver. Okay, my liver was so damaged from the medication, the painkillers, that I couldn't handle fructose. I couldn't handle a lot of food. Today I'm fine, but back then I could not. So she helped me to restore my organ to normal function. Okay, makes sense. Mm-hmm. So it's not uncommon as we detox the body, just changing the diet, you start losing weight. But my weight came back up after a while. Okay, and when we start detoxing as well, it's normal to lose body fat. Okay.
Did you have to stop swimming?
Yes. I haven't swam since. Yeah. I was, like somebody said, I was a little bit disappointed in that, but I didn't want to feel what I felt back then, so I haven't swum since.
So you were allergic to it?
Chlorine was just toxic to the body. Some people do better than others. Sometimes they use bromide, they use other chemicals in the water.
So what you do that helped you, was it muscle response testing? What did you do to find out that you had the chlorine?
Nutrition. I'm gonna cover that in a few minutes.
Sorry.
Yeah. So she gave me something to detox, to flush the chlorine out through the bowels, through the kidneys. So I don't have chlorine anymore. So chlorine can be really toxic in some cases. Chlorine from swimming pool or tap water. Okay, especially in Texas, it's hot. They use a lot of chlorine. Some cities use a lot more chlorine than others. So you have to be careful with that. Okay. So I'm going to answer this question later on. Okay. So with nutrition response testing, like I said, so we can help pretty much anything. Because what we do at the end of the day, we figure out what's going on, give nutrition to the body, and the body knows how to get better. Okay, we just assist the body. So we have people with Lyme disease, people with cancer, Parkinson's, we have people with chronic migraines, hormonal issues, sugar, diabetes, high cholesterol, blood pressure. I mean, name it, we've seen it. Okay, so let's talk about sugar diabetes. So do you guys have any questions before we get started on that? Anything you want me to cover? Specifically?
Well, I have questions about certain diseases, but I don't know how closely related to sugar or not. So I don't know. I don't want to go off topic.
I may actually cover that. I think I'm going to answer your questions.
Because I have my father, he has stomach cancer. He got diagnosed a few months ago.
Yes.
And the only reason he got diagnosed is when my sister realized that he went from eating like almost 2 plates of food to eating like about half a plate of food.
I see.
And then a friend of mine, her husband, I found out he has pernicious anemia.
Yes.
And which means he can't absorb anything, so he has to get B12 shots and stuff. And I've been trying to figure out ways that I could, help them.
Sugar, it's always part of the equation. I think one of you guys said we eat too much sugar in this country. It's always a concern.
He doesn't eat a lot of sugar, actually. He mostly eats meat and vegetables and maybe occasionally fruits, but I don't think he can't eat sugar because of his health conditions. It makes him a lot worse.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
So anyway.
So I may actually cover that. If I don't, we can talk later on.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Could you touch on sugar found in the processed foods versus sugar found in
Yes.
real fruit?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. That's a good question. Because what's the difference there?
Will you talk about all the different names of sugar so that we can identify it on labels?
It's crazy. There's so many. There's 25, 30 different names of sugar. So you have to really, like you said, read your labels to figure out. Now, like high fructose corn syrup, now the name is corn sugar. So when you see corn sugar on labels, it's most likely high fructose corn syrup. So high fructose corn syrup it's high in fructose, right? I think it's 55% of that sugar is fructose. Like I said earlier, your liver is the only organ that can process fructose. So me, my liver was so bad that I couldn't handle fruits. Simple fructose from fruits. Okay, so not everybody's like that. Most people can eat fruits. Okay, but somebody with cancer, for example, somebody with chronic issues, you may have to be really strict on fructose or sugar. Okay. Another question that I get a lot related to that is agave. Okay, agave nectar, agave syrup, agave sugar. So that has more fructose than high fructose corn syrup.
Really?
It's in the 70-80% is fructose. So it's highly processed. So my point of that is worse than.
So agave is worse.
It's worse. Let me rephrase that. The agave refined in this country, it's bad. But the non-refined version from South America, it's healthy for you, which is really hard to find. And it has been shown actually to reverse diabetes when you consume it.
So because it's more highly processed?
It's not processed at all. It's clean. It's natural. The natural. It is like 100% processed. And that's why it's relatively cheap, like $10 $15. The real agave is not cheap. It's hard to find. So don't use agave. That's my point.
What about monk fruit or what a dragon?
So monk fruit is one of the best sweetener that I see with people. The stevia is really good as well. Sometimes people will do good on xylitol or those alcohols like erythritol, xylitol. These are okay for most people. If you consume too much, you might have some GI upset issues.
So xylitol and stevia are preferred sugar substitutes?
Correct. Monk fruit is good. I really like coconut sugar. Okay, it's low glycemic. It has a lot of vitamins and minerals.
You said what?
Coconut
Coconut sugar.
and dates.
I've never heard of coconut sugar. I've had some dates.
Coconut sugar is amazing. It tastes good. Dates, it's a fruit. It's a good sweetener as well. You can get the syrup, or you can use the actual dates to make different pastry, different things.
You already kind of touched on stevia. I had one thought kind of attached to what they were asking you to touch on. When you talk about fruits and the sugar, can you tell us which fruits? I know watermelon is high in sugar, but can you tell us which fruits are the highest in sugar and that we should be careful?
So for my patients, for what we do, typically I recommend berries, except strawberries because they have a lot of sugar, and green apples. So that's typically the only fruits that I tell people it's okay to have. Everything else has quite a bit of sugar.
Wait, green apples and
And berries.
berries,
Correct.
except for strawberries?
Correct.
That's funny, because we eat a lot of strawberries. I didn't know they were that sweet.
They are really sweet, and you cannot find good organic strawberries. Even though they say organic, they do have some pesticide in them.
Really?
So organic strawberries are no. Same thing with grape.
Even with the farms?
Yes. Because they spray pesticides in the air for mosquitoes,
Peaches are high.
peaches,
Pesticides.
grapes
I
as
found a
well.
strawberry farm in Conroe that doesn't use pesticides at all.
No, but they spray it in the air. You see those planes, they spray for mosquitoes, for different things. So everybody gets some level of pesticides through the air because they spray. That's what Texas do. They spray for mosquitoes, right? So you get pesticides through all kind of foods, okay? So most people have pesticide issues actually. That's something that we're gonna cover now.
I actually found out a couple of years ago that I had problems with pesticides.
And Roundup is really, really common.
And in the
Okay.
last couple of years, I've been sensitive to like cleaning products, like even the Clorox wipes. I can smell it, like, oh, that's too strong.
Your body's becoming more and more toxic. Your body's telling you. Yes, Carla.
So my husband has prostate cancer
Yes.
and he likes to drink. And he told me that whiskey doesn't have much sugar. But I think any kind of alcohol is still gonna have a sugar in it, like your wines, your whiskey, your bourbons, your rum, tequila,
And
you know, so I need to have it clarified to me so I can let him know that he shouldn't be drinking that because the cancer likes sugar and they will just eat that up and then will just be more.
so for me, those alcohols and juices, for example, these are sugar that are in liquid form. These are worse
Yeah.
to the body because there's no fibers, there's nothing with it. So alcohol for the body is the same thing as sugar.
Yeah, I tried
Same
telling him
thing.
it doesn't matter if it's whiskey or bourbon or
It doesn't
rum.
matter.
You know, it's still alcohol. It
Yes.
still has where they do all these steps to it. But it's still like wine. I have to have a certain kind of wine. And I don't, I'm not even drinking it, but when I do, I need to know at least I can have this one and still be okay.
Yeah. There's
But they
better wine
also,
than other
they
wine.
also said that even if you drink wine or alcohol and you have a thyroid, because I have Hashimoto's, that within like 20 minutes, I think it does something to the thyroid. I think I read that.
Possible.
So,
It's fast. Yeah, alcohol is, people don't realize how bad it is. I have so many people that are not quite convinced with their wines, because wine is supposed to be healthy, And then when we convince them, okay, stop for a few weeks and see how you feel.
yeah.
And everybody gets amazed by how much better they are without drinking. And it's harsh on your liver, it's hard on your body,
Yeah.
okay? So at any given time in your body, that's what I wanted to show you guys. This is a teaspoon of sugar. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see. So at any given time in your body, in your bloodstream, there's a teaspoon of sugar. So your body maintains sugar, right? And if your sugar drops too low, you have hypoglycemia, you can be a bit dizzy, or you can faint, and so on. And for diabetes, it's on the other side, where you have too much sugar. So I wanted to show you this. So this is 5 grams of sugar, a teaspoon. Okay, this is 40 grams. You can see, right, the difference?
So 8 times as much.
Okay, so this is a serving of a cup of rice, a slice of bread, a slice of pizza, bowl of pasta. So that's more or less how much sugar you consume in one serving. So like you said, it's 8 times more than what is supposed to be in your blood. So my point of that is every time you consume those starches, your body has to work a lot to bring the sugar down. That's why we talk about insulin and insulin resistance and diabetes, right? Because we know that insulin is the hormone that will bring the sugar back to normal, okay? And that's the problem with diabetes, is the body doesn't respond to the insulin, and then you have insulin resistance. Okay, and then at some point you may have to do some shots and take some insulin and so on, because your body is just tired and stressed to make insulin, and your pancreas starts failing. I mean, I have so many people, I think it's pandemic, I don't know how many percent of the population, I think it's 20-25% of the population has some sort of diabetes, insulin resistance going on. It's really, really common, like you said, there's a lot of sugar in the foods we eat. So it's more and more common. I have teenagers now coming with diabetes. It's ridiculous.
My husband just got diagnosed with diabetes at the beginning of this year, and I've been really proud of him because we used to eat around the same stuff, sugar and stuff. And even though I still get sugar stuff sometimes, he's actually completely cut out ice cream and
Awesome.
shakes
Awesome.
and like even cookies. If he eats a cookie, it'll be just like one, but half the time he'll say no.
Yeah.
And so I've been really impressed that he's been like turning away, and even if it's high carb, he's like no. And to me, I think it's low carb sometimes. He's like, no, it's too much.
Everybody's a bit different, but when you cut out sugar, diabetes have to cut out all the sugar. I mean, there's different types of diabetes, right? I'm sure you heard of type 1 diabetes, so you depend on insulin, okay? Type 2 is typically the one you get as you get older, right? Your body becomes a bit more resistant, you may need metformin, and at some point maybe insulin. And then people talk about type 3 diabetes, which is another name for Alzheimer's disease, dementia. Because your body, your pancreas, everybody knows about the pancreas, the organ that makes insulin. But the other organs that people don't talk about is your brain. So your brain makes insulin. So if your brain does not respond to insulin anymore because you've had too much sugar in your life, you have dementia. So your brain cells start dying.
You have dementia?
Right, Alzheimer's, yeah.
Alzheimer's. So sugar can cause.
That's the first cause of dementia.
Oh my God.
So that's the type 3 diabetes that doctors are talking about right now. And now I heard some doctors talking about type 4. It's a bit misleading, but type 4, the point of that is they realize that people who wear their cell phone on the left side of the body, it can lead to damage to the pancreas, leading to insulin issues. So they call it type 4 diabetes, but actually it's a cell phone problems. So you should never wear cell phones on your body.
Wait,
Cell phone is
what about the
toxic.
cell phones?
It can cause diabetes,
It can
cause
cause diabetes.
sugar issues. Yeah,
It causes sugar issues with the phone?
because when you wear it on this side, it affects your pancreas. Okay, your pancreas is right there.
That's, I
Okay.
keep it in my pocket.
So you should never put your cell phone in the body for health reasons. It's just toxic. Now with the 5G that is coming out, more and more frequent, it's even worse. I have so many people this week, they came and started
So
to have
where do you
problems.
put it if you don't put it?
I don't. You can buy blockers to
Wow.
block the radiation from the cell phone, but I never had my cell phone on me, ever. I always had it somewhere. But you can put it in your purse or whatever. Okay. Any questions?
I have one
Yes.
more. What about bread that's made out of nuts? Like Marina's has really good bread that he makes from almond nuts, cashews, hazelnut.
Yes.
So he uses like the nuts for the flour, and then he uses some egg, and I think now he's got like some like dairy in some of his breads. But is
That's-
that considered a sugary?
Nice.
Carb.
At some degree, yes, because nuts are a little bit high in starch. So it's much better than regular bread.
Right.
But there's
Okay.
some people that are still having issues with nuts, or the carbs in nuts, so you have to be careful. I mean, I had people who ate that bread, who've been eating that bread, and they started to gain some weight and started to have some problems. So it's case by case.
Yeah.
Okay, so you may be okay, but maybe somebody else is not okay with that bread.
No, I don't think I am okay with it now because
Yeah.
the Corona gave me 10 pounds.
Yes.
And so I'm like,
It's really fattening. It's not.
it
Not
found me.
fattening. Yeah.
So I'm now just limiting. It's in the freezer, and I just had like one Saturday, and then I had
Yeah,
one
exactly.
slice Sunday.
As
But
a
I'm
treat once
trying
in
to
a
go
while.
away from that for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can get almond flour bread. There's different breads you can get at a low carb, which is fine, but again, it depends.
They have
on
more
what you
stuff
want.
in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess this is kind of indirectly related to sugar since it does turn into sugar. But like when it comes to like picking, kind of similar to her question, but a little different, is when you're choosing a bread to eat, obviously white bread is not good for you, but when it comes to the whole wheat breads or organic breads, how do you choose what kind of bread to eat?
It's gonna be simple for you. All breads are bad.
Yeah. Just
The-
don't eat it.
Actually, the whole wheat bread is worse than the white bread. It spikes your insulin, your sugar higher than the white bread.
So
Okay.
what about sprouted? Like the sprouted bread, is that okay?
That's better, but it's still
Yeah.
grain, it's still carb, it's still sugar.
So Ezekiel bread is still bad?
It's still bad.
Yeah.
It's still sugar. Okay? There's no good breads. Maybe a bread, like she said, with nut flour. It's better, but there's no really good bread out there. Okay?
Has it always been that way, or is it just because they've changed how they make the bread over the last 50 to 60
The way they've made the bread, they change the bread. The wheat, the grains, the corn,
The gluten.
the gluten is just different today. If you go to France, for example, I have so many patients, they tell me they go to France, they eat bread, they lose weight, they feel awesome. When they come here, they eat bread, they gain weight, they feel bad. So they have so much better wheat out there, so much better bread products. So it's quite the issue.
Yeah, the wheat isn't left out in the field to ferment like it used to be.
Yeah.
Now it's a faster processing to get it off the fields and into the stores.
Yeah, it's all about money,
Yeah.
how to make more money out
So they're
of what you
skipping
grow.
processes.
Right. Yeah. Most of the bread you get in France, it's sourdough, like you said, it's fermented for 6-7 days.
So you said no bread's good, so is sourdough here good or no?
No.
No.
There's no bread, I'm sorry.
You can't win.
You gotta win.
The
When you
one
get
I
your bread.
have is a bread from Costco. It's a almond bread.
It's
And-
almond bread?
Yes. That's better,
and it's-
like she
it's
said.
a-
So what about potato bread? Is that still bad?
Starch.
Starch turns into sugar.
So, because all bread is bad, I'm really worried about my sister because she loves carbs and
Yeah.
she loves breads and butters and stuff like that. So, what's a good substitute?
Eggs.
Instead of bread?
Well, I mean, yeah.
I would go with, like Carla said, a bread, or like you said, that is almond flour or hazelnut flour, nut flour base. These are much better breads. That's a transition, that's a tool that we can use, a food that we can use to help you to stop the bread. So those bread, I can give you a card letter today to get. There's a bakery in, I think it's Lake City, right?
Yes.
They make that bread fresh every day. It's a good bread. But like you said, it's fattening. It's still quite a bit of carbs, but it's much better.
That's what I was gonna
Yeah.
ask.
That would be a bad option for her. Then at some point she can transition
To know
something
bread.
else.
You might also check the granary, they might have it, because they have certain types of bread there, I just don't know if they have nut bread or not.
So there's a few reasons why people crave sugar. Okay, starches. One is stress. When you're stressed, you naturally crave the comfort food, right? What is comfort food? It's something sweet. Okay, so naturally when you're stressed, you eat more, you want something more, something sweet. And then the main thing that I see in people is two things. One is deficiencies. When you have different deficiencies, like magnesium deficiency, zinc deficiency,
Because of sugar.
chromium, I'm going to talk about that now. So it's a vicious cycle. So when you have those deficiencies, you naturally crave sugar. That's natural. And it's really hard to control that. And the other factor is candida or yeast. I don't know if you heard of yeast, candida. So candida is a major factor that I see pretty much in everybody's body. Is when you have yeast, yeast thrives on sugar. So when you don't eat sugar, the yeast is not happy, and this is where you have withdrawal symptoms. You might sweat, you might be moody, mad, you don't sleep. I see that all the time with people. So if you don't address the candida, if you don't address the deficiencies, you're gonna keep craving sugar. Okay, so you need to address these two so you can stop eating sugar. So it's really a vicious cycle. Okay, it's crazy. Okay? Yes?
Sorry, I feel bad I'm asking so many questions, but, so you mentioned the deficiencies, do you figure out those deficiencies are through the muscle response
I'm
testing?
gonna talk about that.
Okay.
I can jump ahead a little bit on my talk, but yes, I'm gonna talk about the deficiencies, how to detect those, and what to do. Because it's crazy. Sugar is so addictive. I mean, there's some studies that show that sugar is more addictive than drugs. Cocaine and heroin and all those. It's really, really addictive. Okay, I know they look at addictions using mice or rats, and they would give those animals sugar or heroin, and the mice would go to the sugar instead of going to the drug. Because sugar is so much more addictive. It's crazy. It's a drug. To me, I consider that as a drug. Because it's really hard to stop it and not to have it. And then every time you have some, you want more. It's crazy how the body is responding to that. Okay. So we're going to talk about this today, the sugar. Okay. So as you know, there's many symptoms related to sugar issues and diabetes. And there's many causes to it. Okay. Even though from a medical standpoint of view, we know quite a bit about diabetes, there's one thing that I would like for you to remember is anything can cause anything in the body. Okay? And as you can see on this board, I set it up as a triangle. So we have deficiencies. I talked about that a few minutes ago. We're going to come back to that. We have organ dysfunctions, and then we have diabetes, sugar issues at the top. So what we need to figure out is, in your case, what's causing the problem? How to fix that? Okay? And in every case of sugar or diabetes issues, I always see deficiencies, like I said. And there's always an organ being impacted on that. Like in diabetes, could be your pancreas. Okay? So what's going on is, you know, when you start having deficiencies. So when you have a problem, so I can tell you that you have deficiencies in the body. Okay? And as you can see, this is a triangle, right? So if I pull on one side, the other two sides will collapse. So this is true for your health and your symptoms. So if you have diabetes, sugar issues, okay, you have deficiencies in the body. Because these minerals, these vitamins, serve as a fuel to your organs are not working at 100%. Because your organs are not working at 100%, your ability to digest, process, absorb food goes down, leading to more deficiencies. The more deficient you are, more severe your problems become. That's why one time with diabetes, you may have to use insulin. It gets worse. Because it gets worse, more stress is put on your organs. Okay, you can see this is a vicious cycle that keeps on and on. So what we need to do in nutrition response testing is to put a stop in the vicious cycle. Okay, that will stop the damage done to your body. That will allow your body to stabilize and improve over time. Okay? So what we need to figure out in your case is what deficiencies your body has, what organs are being impacted in this whole system, so we can help your body to improve and get rid of the problem once and for all. Make sense? So when you look further, there's a pink sheet. I would like for you to pull it out. It's a quiz, about 10 questions. I would like for you to spend a few minutes on this questionnaire, and then we're going to talk about it. Let's talk about the quiz. So how did you guys do on the quiz? So if you answer false more than 4 times, it means that you are sugar addict. Okay? You're addicted to sugar. You are, everybody is at some degree. At least when you don't do anything about it. It means that you crave sugar. Like I said, sugar is so addictive. If you don't have it, you look for sugar. I remember when I was in college, I would get out at 12 o'clock at night, get something to eat because I was craving sweets. So it controls your life. Okay? Like an alcoholic needs to drink alcohol. Okay? So if you didn't answer false more than 4 times, maybe you don't have an issue with sugar. But maybe you don't know there's sugar in almost everything these days. When you start reading labels, like you said earlier, sugar is in almost all processed food. Okay? I've seen grams of salt having sugar. I've seen bread, pasta, all kinds of foods. It shouldn't have sugar. To me, it doesn't make sense. And I think that's why we are in this situation in this country. We are getting sicker and heavier and just worse. Okay? If you flip the page over, it's a list that was compiled by Dr. Nancy. So Dr. Nancy came up with that quiz. She's an expert on sugar. She has a website. She has cookbooks. I mean, she just wants to teach and educate people on sugar. Because she realized that sugar is bad. Sugar is the enemy. And this is a list compiled by her. It's 146 or 47 studies that show that sugar is toxic for you. If you look at number 12, for example, sugar is known to interfere with the absorption of calcium and magnesium. Okay, and she demonstrated that every time you eat just one molecule of sugar, you need about 50 magnesium to process that sugar out. That's why most people are magnesium deficient. They eat too much sugar. Okay, calcium, you need about 30 calcium to process the sugar. That's to me the main cause of bone problems. So if you don't eat enough calcium from your diet, your body will take it from your teeth, your bones, and you have osteopenia, osteoporosis. Okay, and most of the time with bone issues, we cut out sugar and bones just get better. Okay? So as you go through the list, I think there's enough reason for you to look at your sugar intake.
Only 147.
Just 147. Okay. I think the main one for me is cancer. You mentioned it earlier, Carla. So cancer feeds on sugar. Actually, medical doctors would use sugar with a dye to detect cancers in people's body. So cancer just really like sugar. It's crazy. Okay, so if you have cancer or chronic issue, you need to stop feeding the disease. You have to stop sugar. Okay. Like I just said, sugar is part of the equation, right? Sugar is known to cause deficiencies. We talk about calcium, magnesium, but it may also be true for vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin B, zinc, chromium. So a lot of vitamins or mineral deficiency can be connected to sugar intake. And sugar can affect organs. We know, like the adrenals. Adrenals are really sensitive to sugar. So every time you eat some sugar, you stress your adrenals. And your body believes that you are in a stressful situation. So you have more stress hormones in the body, and you might feel anxious and stressed and all that. Okay? So sugar is part of the equation. Okay, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but sugar is just that.
Because it causes deficiencies, can it cause hormonal imbalance?
Correct. Which I'm going to get back to that.
Okay.
Hey, you're too fast for me.
Sorry, I'm jumping.
Slow it down, slow it down. yes, again. Yeah. You're not get back to
That's
that.
number 85, by the way.
Oh.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay, good. You did good. Your eyes. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, well, I can't read them all, so.
Sugar is known to cause hormonal imbalance, yes. Okay. And sugar is a vicious cycle a little bit because it can cause thyroid problems, adrenal problems, leading to weight problems, and weight problem can lead to diabetes, liver issues. It's a really vicious cycle. Another case for weight problems, for example, it comes down to a diet issue, stress issue, adrenals, thyroid issues, liver issues. So we need to fix all of that. That's one of the reasons for guys. I see that all the time. People get frustrated. These guys will lose weight like this. I don't know if you've heard that. Lose 20, 25 pounds easy. For women, men, you guys have to fight and work hard to lose weight. Because there's a hormonal component going on in the body. There's a thyroid issue, an adrenal issue. There's different things that we don't necessarily have to deal with. Okay? And as we fix the inside, the weight starts to slowly come off. Okay? And then insulin resistance is often at play when it comes to weight. The body is just resistant, it holds to the weight no matter what you do. I mean, I had people come to me, they did the HCG diet or they eat 500 calories a day. They do all kinds of diet, they just cannot lose the weight because they never address the root cause of the problem, the insulin resistance. Okay? Good. So now I need your help. I would like for you to bring to your mind one issue. I mean, you came here tonight, most likely because you want to address something, you want to improve your health. So I would like for you to bring something to your mind that you want to get rid of. If I had a magic wand, what will it be?
Stress. Please.
I can help with that. I can't help.
Okay.
100%.
Well, I gained 40 pounds this year, and I've been trying to get down to 200 pounds for 4 or 5 years, but I've always been 15 or 20 pounds away from my goal.
Yeah, I'm gonna cover that actually. So everybody has some things at the end of the day they want to improve.
Sleep.
Sleep. Oh, that's a good one.
That's what
Oh, that's a good one. I have been
Insomnia.
sleeping well for
Yes.
months.
That's a good
Insomnia.
one. Sleep is part of that too. Actually, when you don't sleep well, everything is off. Insomnia. I see that all the time. Okay. So when you think about these issues that you are dealing with, how do they impact your life? You know, when you don't sleep, you might be cranky in the morning. You don't want to be around people. You know, you may not be efficient at work. Okay, you may be.
Sometimes you can't even drive.
No, exactly.
You're too tired.
So things are just not good for your body. I know when I was dealing with these issues, I didn't want to be around people. I was in bad mood all the time. I was angry. I was in pain. You know, I was irritable. So it affects your life, right? And if you really look into the future, how do you think these issues will be? I kind of said it earlier. Things get worse over time. It starts with the symptoms, and then you have more issues and more, and then you gain more weight, and you sleep is just more.
Anxiety.
You have more coming with that. Yeah. So things are just not good. So something has to change in order for you to get better. Okay? And how important is it for you to change? Because if it is, I can tell you, there's hope. Okay, to get better. And there's a way to help with that. And we're gonna talk about how we can help with nutrition response testing. Okay? So this is the tool that saved my life years ago when I was in Boston. And this is what I learned, nutrition response testing. With NRT, we can it allows us to identify, like I said with the triangle, the deficiencies, what deficiencies the body has, and what organs are being impacted. So when we fix these two sides of the corner, okay, the issue at the top goes away. Okay, so this is the difference with Western allopathic medicine, is we actually go at the root cause of when you have problems. Okay? You know, if you stay in the cold, it's hard to imagine because it's kind of hot in Texas. It never really gets cold, but when I was in Canada, if you live in the north, you stay in the cold for some time, you start having issues with your fingers, your toes, your hands, your feet, right? It's called hypothermia. It's when the body brings the blood to the organs to survive in the cold. Because you don't need your fingers, you need your heart, you need your pancreas, you need your liver, and so on and so on and so on. So the same mechanism is behind nutrition response testing. Tiffany, you ready? So I'm gonna have Tiffany, my assistant tonight, to demonstrate nutrition response testing because a lot of people, it's new to them, and this is based on Eastern medicine, acupuncture. Okay? So we have Tiffany here, she's standing here, so her body is not under stress. Okay? So if I ask her to hold the arm up, and I've asked her to resist, she's able to resist me. Okay? You can see, I put pressure on the arm strongly, and she's resisting back. Okay? But let's say for tonight's demonstration, she has a stress thyroid. I will answer your question. So what I do is, we know we have a stress thyroid. So what we do a stress test. Okay, I'm sure you've been to doctors when you do a stress test for your heart, for example. So what we do is we stress the organs. So what we do is we put pressure using my fingers on the organs. So we stress the organs more. Okay? So just by putting pressure on the organs. Not to choke her, but to put pressure on the thyroid. So what happens when I put pressure is the arm goes down. She's not able to resist me anymore. Same thing as this hypothermia that we were talking about. The energy, the blood, goes to the core organs and beyond gazer. Okay, that's the nutrition response testing. Okay, so what we do is we use the arm as a strength indicator. So when the arm stays up, it means the organ is not stressed. And when the arm goes down, it means that the organ is stressed. Okay, once we know which organs are stressed, we need to figure out which one is the most stressed in the body. There's always a weakest point. Is it your liver? Is it your thyroid? What is it? So once we know which organ is the most stressed, which address this side of the triangle, like I said, we need to figure out how to fix it. And this is where we start using foods and vitamins and herbs. We have more than 500-600 different types of products we can use. So you know everything in life has energy. Okay, we may not see energy, but we can feel energy. I'm sure you had this experience in your past that you met somebody for the first time, like you were best friend, you're connected, like good energy. I never had experience in the past that I had bad energy. You feel like, well, what's wrong with that person? You just feel repulse. You may not see why, but you feel it. Okay, this is why we talk about energy. Or in the summer in Houston, man, it gets hot. We may not see the sun, but we can feel the sun coming down. It's hot. Okay, that's energy. Okay, so everything has energy in our bodies, and we can look at the auras of people, different colors. That's energy. The chair, the sitting, foods, everything has energy. We are all made of energy. So in these bottles, these are standard processed supplements. I'm going to talk about it later. These are food supplements. So they are vitamins, minerals, food, different energy. So once we know that they have a thyroid issue, so we need to figure out what vitamins the thyroid needs. Okay, is it iodine? Is it zinc? Is it vitamin B? Whatever it is. So tonight I'm going to try vitamin B. Okay, so I'm going to ask her to hold the arm up. So I'm going to go back with the vitamin B over there. And if the arm stays weak, it means that she's not deficient in B for her thyroid. So I'm going to move to iodine, which most people are deficient in iodine. So I take iodine, go back to the thyroid, and then the arm gets strong. That indicates with the testing that if she takes iodine, it's going to help the thyroid. Okay, thank you. So this is how we can really be specific for each organ. Okay, a lot of people ask me, we don't do blood work, what's going on with that? So first of all, I don't do blood work because people bring their blood work to me. So they have the medical doctor, they do all of that. Everybody will come to me, or most people come to me, they've been to doctor, they've done all the tests, nothing is showing up, everything is okay, they don't know what's going on. So we don't do that. And second of all, blood work don't give us the information. It's not specific. So the body would do anything to maintain the blood, maintain your sugar within the range, your pH, your oxygen, your vitamins, your minerals. So if your blood is fine, it doesn't mean that your heart is fine. It doesn't mean your pancreas, when it comes to from a nutrition point of view, that is fine. Okay? Because if your blood is not good, you die. You're out. But your body can survive with a sick heart for a long time, actually, before you have a heart attack. Okay? So this is why we use NRT to pinpoint which organ is stressed and which deficiency or deficiencies. And then to answer your questions, we look at different factors like toxins. In my case, it was a chlorine issue. What I've seen a lot with people in Houston is pesticides. It showed up in almost every case. There's a pesticide issue. We need to detox that from food, from water, from whatever. Mercury is very common. We do have a lot of yeast, candida, because of the sugar. Like I said, so if you don't address the yeast, you crave sugar. Sometimes you have tapeworm, parasite. I mean, there's all kinds of factors you look at why your body is sick, which medical doctors don't really look at, don't have the tools exactly to really pinpoint. Yes?
Can I assume sugar and nutritional deficiencies can cause food allergies?
Yes.
My little sister has food allergies, but I think in the last year or two it spiked a lot.
Yes. So what happened in this case is histamine, right? We all know about histamine and allergies, so that's why people take antihistamine to have allergies. So when you eat sugar, you stress your adrenals. Your adrenals makes more stress hormones. Stress hormones make more histamine, having allergies. So when you break this cycle to fix your adrenals and the sugar, histamine goes down, you don't have allergies anymore. So all the allergies that people are dealing with right now, pollen, trees, all that, if they can cut off sugar, fix the adrenals, allergies goes away. Okay, really simple. I see that all the time, actually. So you don't need medication actually to band-aid, to mask the problem. You fix the problem. I mean, I had a lot of major allergies actually. I don't have anymore.
I had a friend who actually went to get tested for allergies recently, and she said her allergies have gotten a lot worse in the last 2 years. She's been in Texas for about 5.5 years.
Yes.
And she asked the doctor, she said, well, allergies do increase with age. And I asked if she wanted to try some essential oils, because some essential oils can help with allergies, but she said, no, I'll just try the testing and take the shots.
I see that all the time with people moving to Houston. They don't have allergies when they live somewhere else. When they moved, all the time they have allergies. The main reason that I see in Texas or Houston is toxin, pollution. All the toxins get into your body, your sinuses, disrupting your immune system, causing allergies. So for those people, your detox and allergies goes away. I see that all the time, all the time. Yes?
So for your average patients, I assume you would identify the main problem, you would treat it. Perhaps you would identify 2 or 3 problems and you would treat them. Is this a lifelong treatment, or do you eventually get off it? Like, for example, are you completely off of everything now?
I take some vitamins right now because I want to maintain. So that's the last step of the program, is the maintenance phase. So we have 3 steps. So the first step, we detox. Second step, we heal the body. Last step is you're done. Okay? And I don't know how long you're going to be on these different steps. But at the end of the day, the goal is to be done. Okay? I want people to be out and be healthy.
And being done means you can just eat out in the world and you don't need to take pills?
I always recommend some vitamins, like a multivitamins, maybe some fish oil, something basic. Food, it depends. Some people have to stay away from gluten for life or milk for life. There's nothing you can do about it. Milk specifically, when you lose the enzyme to break down the lactose, there's nothing you can do about it. So you're done, you can have milk. Gluten, possible, maybe not, I don't know. So everybody's different, and it depends too what you want to do. So I have people that have been with me 2 or 3 or 4 years because they want to get better and stronger. Some people after a year, they feel they achieve their goals, they're done. So that's a discussion we have with patients. So how long we need to be working together. Okay? But and then after that you detox maybe once a year. You do a detox, a purification program, just to detox the toxins. Like EMS radiations, we are exposed to toxins every single day, every second. We breathe toxins. So at some point we need to detox. I recommend once a year.
Step on or touch.
That's crazy. That's life today. Makes sense.
Do you see patients over Zoom, or do you have to see them in person?
I do both.
You do both?
Especially with this pandemic, I've been doing that both.
So how do you do muscle response testing?
I don't do a lot of muscle testing on the phones because I need the body, I need your arm.
Oh,
Yes, you
okay.
can put your arm through the
I
body.
don't know if you could do it through,
But we talk. I have a few patients now, one in California with breast cancer. I have another one in Nevada. I have people all over the place actually. And we talk over the phone. There's some question that I do. There's some question that we do. And the questions are pretty specific to guide me to see what we need to do.
okay, cool.
Okay. A lot of it is talking and feel how you feel. It's pretty tough. I will spend 30 minutes asking questions.
I'm sorry, I know I'll try to get your word for the most questions.
So it's not quite nutrition response testing, but we help with the diet. We help with other factors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other question? Did you have a question? No.
We have a lot of great testimonies that you can see of people that have been doing it for a lot of years. And on our website, on our YouTube, on Facebook, all of these, you can read about it, you can watch it, and that'll excite you. Is to hear testimonies of people that have been with them for a few years, see where they come from. There's a specific lady in general that was on 5 to 6. She had a prescription for every single part of her body. She's in her late 60s, 70s, and she's been with it for about 3 years and is completely off of every prescription. But she just takes her supplements. And supplements, what Dr. Serge will tell you, it's like having food in a pill. And if you're really good out there, then you have a good shot at just being able to just get off the supplements and do well. But that's evil out there.
That's the thing, is to find the balance to answer your question. So where's the balance? What can you eat? You know, and like you said, it's getting worse. I mean, it's fast food all over the place, and it's crazy. It's trying to find what works for you, and that's part of the education with people, is give them the knowledge what you need to do when you're gonna be done by yourself out there. You know.
So am I understanding you right, that if we are able to decrease the organ dysfunction and so forth, will that decrease the sugar cravings?
Correct.
Okay.
I don't crave sugar anymore.
Wait,
So
what
when
did
you
you
fix
say?
the deficiencies in the organs, like these two sides, right? So when you fix these two sides, the craving is not there. Okay? As long as you stay away from sugars, because sometimes I have people say, I don't crave sugar, but they have a bite of something and they start craving sugar. Like, where's that coming from? That's a drug. So you have to be really careful what you eat. Especially when TJ said, when you go eat outside, you never know what they put in the sauce or the dressing. You have to be really careful. And that's part of education. We have to help people with how to eat out, what to do to eat better.
You know, one of the worst things I've noticed a lot of the ketchup and the different
Yes.
dressings they have, like high fructose corn syrup for sugar is like number one.
That's what they do. They want people to buy their foods. They add sugar to it, so they come back, buy the food again.
There are those, I've noticed some ones without sugar in them,
Yes.
in the
Where?
regular ketchup bottles,
Yes.
either HEB or Kroger.
Oh, well, at the store, but I'm talking about fast foods. When you go to
Oh,
like,
no.
Just
when-
don't even eat ketchup.
Yeah.
when you
Don't
go
do
to
it.
when you go to
That's right,
Well,
don't do it.
I usually eat my fries without stuff, except for when I go to Chick-fil-A, because I love the Chick-fil-A sauce, which has sugar in it.
Oh, that's so
I
nice.
question her actually Nancy, Dr.
Yes.
Does she, you mentioned she had like recipes and stuff.
She
like
has
that.
cookbooks.
She doesn't include any sugar, it's totally
She
healthy.
used stevia or xylitol or stuff like that. No sugar in her recipes. So if you Google her, you can find her website and you can look at the cookbooks. Yes.
I just want to say, I am one of these patients, and I've been clean about 6 or 7 months, and I was about the worst carb addict there ever was. And I don't crave it anymore, but I followed what he told me to do, and I've been doing it for 6 months. My IBS is gone. I don't have trouble with my asthma. Now, I still have problems because I'm 70 years old. It took a long time to get it. But
Well, that's
stick
impressive.
with
Have you
it.
stopped a few
I'm
medications?
just amazed, yes, and I'm getting off my medications. My cardiologist was extremely impressed, and I was so impressed, he told my husband to come see him. Because honestly, he did.
So you're touching a good point there, because a lot of people come to us, they take medications. That's naturally what they do, is they go see the doctor. And some of them want to stop the meds. Some of them don't really talk about it, but what happens naturally is as you fix the body, like it happened to you, your body starts rejecting medications and say, okay, you don't need that, you don't need that, you don't need that, you don't need that. And then without you know it, before you know it, you don't take any medication.
And the cravings do go away. I
Yes.
didn't think they would, I didn't think I could live without that stuff, and
I know,
I
I-
how can do it.
And you
And
just,
it becomes very doable. It
and
really
you start
does.
craving actually food.
You like things, and if I have something,
Yes.
some things taste way too sweet, or even some fruits do now. It's like they're too sweet.
No, I crave
don't-
greens, I crave
Well, I'm not
food.
quite
It's
there
amazing.
yet, but I'm working.
You're gonna
It's
get
more
there.
acceptable.
You make good
know, I
changes.
used to, I couldn't eat that stuff, I didn't think. But now I like things I didn't used to like.
Exactly. You take much change actually all the time.
Right.
Okay.
They do.
So with nutrition, what we do is we design a program to meet your own needs. Okay? Everybody is different. If you look around, we all look different, right? Okay? So we have guys, we have women, each other. So I believe that with nutrition, we put something different. Okay? That's what it is. So it's customized to fit your own problem, as opposed to more the Western medical doctors. They do the same protocol for the same thing for everybody. Okay? So doing this kind of work, the main thing we need to figure out is to make sure that you're a good candidate for nutrition. Because if you're not a good candidate for nutrition, rest from this thing, doing this won't really help. On the other side, if you're a good fit, a good candidate for nutrition, I can tell you, you're gonna feel better. Like you said, naturally you just start feeling better. Okay?
Wait, before I forget, you
Yeah.
said that one can not be a good candidate for
Yes. Yes.
Interesting.
And I mean, there's some people,
How can a person not be a good candidate for nutrition responses?
like she said a few minutes ago, she's been doing exactly what I asked her to do. That's why she's getting better. We have some people that are a bit more stubborn. They don't want to change. They want a quick fix. You know, I don't do quick fixes. That's my next point, is we fix the root cause. So if you want a quick fix, you're not a good candidate, right? Because I will ask you to change, and it's gonna take some time. So you have to be willing. Okay? Or I had people, they came to me, they had brain cancer. when it gets to the brain, there's some cancer, there's some disease that is just too advanced to progress, and you cannot reverse. So when it's too late, when you reach to the point that's too late for your body, there's nothing you can do. If a medical doctor has cancer, it's send them to hospice and that's it. Okay, so it's case by case. Okay, so what we do is to improve your health and to restore the foundation which has been lost. Okay, and typically you lost the foundation years and years ago. So it's not a quick fix, like I said. It's not the emergency visit. They take the pill and it's all cured. Okay, I don't have a magic wand, like I said, so it takes some time. You have to be willing, have an open mind to try something different and give you the time. Okay, people always spend a year and a half, detox and heal the body, depending on how you are, how kind of issues are. Okay, and what we do is safe and natural. So this, like TJ said, these are concentrated food. So Standard Process was the first company in 21 to put vitamins together. These are concentrated food. So I don't know if you look into that, but the nutritional value of our food supply today is bad. It's decreased. So there's some doctors that look at the quality of the food that we eat today as opposed to what we used to eat in the 50s. And they look at 73 vegetables, 70 different fruits. So they look at spinach, for example. They found out that you will have to eat 30 cups of spinach today for 1 cup of spinach in the 50s. So the value is so down. And then 35, I think it was 35 carrots for 1 carrot in the 50s.
35?
Correct.
Oh,
So do you know anybody who will eat 30 cups of spinach or lettuce or kale or broccoli?
I have a hard time eating 1 or 2 cups.
Exactly. So that's why Standard Process. That was like almost 100 years ago. Dr. Lee, the guy who came up with that, started to see the efficiencies back then. We started to use some chemicals, some pesticides, and it's been getting worse and worse and worse. So it's much easier to take a few pills of concentrated food. So these are food, they're organic, GMO-free, pesticide-free, they're raw. This is one of the few companies that are actually a Standard Process. They are FDA approved, actually. The FDA goes there, it's all clean, it's all processed like it used to be. And when the body, when you start doing that, taking that, you start feeling the difference. You just nourish your body. Okay. It's safe, it's food, and there's no conflicts with medications. Like I said, a lot of people take medications. I have people on chemo and different things, and there's no conflicts. What happens most of the time, like I said, you don't need the medications. Okay, we have people who are newborn babies, people in the 70s, 80s, 90s, so there's no age to take vitamins. I have a guy in 91, I believe, and he's getting better. He wants to get better, he has so much to do. It's crazy. There's always something you can do. Okay, like I said, the first thing we need to do with this is to determine, to see if you're a good candidate for nutrition response testing. So there's a screening form in your folder. I think it's on the right side. So I would ask you to put it out, fill out, write your name and all that. So when you're done, we're gonna start doing a screening on you. So we're gonna meet with each of you, and we're gonna see if you're a good fit, if you're a good candidate for nutrition. Okay, and if you are, we're going to offer you a free assessment. Okay? I'm a little bit concerned about what's wrong with you knowing these issues. It's not normal to have problems that affect your life.
Is that normal to have what?
Problems, issues, symptoms. Okay? It's like you're going to drive from Houston to Michigan and your car makes a noise. You could or could not make it. Okay, I will not take the risk. A mere could is enough to be concerned. I could see a lot about nutrition, about sugar, but my goal is to help you. And that's why we're going to meet with each of you, and we're going to give you a free assessment. So the free assessment is you come in, we do the symptoms survey, the health history, the body fat, the weight. We do what we call the HRV to look at all your organs are talking to each other, how your body is healing. And we do the nutrition response testing to give you the deficiencies, the organ dysfunctions, and different things like that. And then we give you a report. It's about 5 pages, and that report is going to tell you the why and how to fix your body. Okay? We typically charge $250 for that, but for tonight, to help you out, we're going to give you that away for free. Okay?